Hello, superstars. My name is Aaron. I'm a board certified juggalo, and you're listening to the Superpod Saga. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I am your host, Aaron. Coppa Squad, have a seat. Table or booth, still or sparkling. Yeah, hey, for any first time listeners, this is the podcast where each week I talk to some fabulous guests about a fabulous video game topic each week. And as soon as we're done discussing today's topic, we'll huddle over a trash can fire in the back alley and indulge in some discarded cheeseburgers and hot dogs and stuff. Because,
Yeah.
yeah,
My
it
favorite.
sounds so great. Yeah.
I'm sorry, was I not allowed to talk yet?
Yeah, no, you can talk. It's all
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
There is no format. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Sorry.
dude. Today I've got three returning guests. Actually, one of them was just on the show fucking not too long ago at all. Hello, Thrak. Hello.
Hi, I'm back. You can't get rid of me. I hang out now. I think even Chris, who was on our last episode, he said to me, "You're hanging out with Aaron too much."
He says it like it's a bad thing. What a
I
bastard.
know.
People are gonna
I
talk,
know.
you know.
That's-
I think he's just
that's
jealous.
true, dude.
You know.
I think he's
It's-
jealous.
It's like in high school when there's that really trashy girl where she puts out, but and you're like, I might give that a shot. Then everybody's like mean mugging you. I don't know, man. Maybe that was just me.
I was too
Yeah,
pure
it
to
was
do
a-
that in high school.
I was
Yeah.
way too timid and angry at that time to do anything like that.
Well, I don't want to talk about losing my virginity story, but there was a trashy girl who approached me. So
Okay.
that's for
Nah.
that's
Got
for,
the whole
that's for
story?
That's
after
hot.
dark.
That's
After dark, yeah.
Just what I
I
signed
mean,
up for.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, just right. It was just right in the hallway, right there, in front
Right
of everybody.
there.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Right outside English class. You know,
Awesome.
it's like you're supposed to read The Great Gatsby. I'm like, here's some Great Gatsby for you.
Well, don't.
I've got your Great Gatsby right here, girl, and you're
Oh.
pointing down.
Is that how she describes it to her? Is it like medium
Oh.
Gatsby when she recalls it?
Average sized Gatsby.
Good night,
It's
everybody.
it's above average. I swear.
Oh, man.
Like there's a little like pencil mark on a ruler. It's right there. Just swear to God, it's right there. Thank you.
Hitting us with a call. There you go.
Give me a crash. I need a crash.
Oh, fuck. Is he in this? Yeah, he is.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay. And yeah, there's another one that was also just on here maybe earlier this week or last week. Hello from all the way in Nevada, Andre. Hi.
Hi. Hello. I'm your boy Dre. We don't have I know you don't play the brassy hip hop beat here, but I feel weird not saying it over that. But yes, it's me.
Yeah, it must
I
feel
do
weird
love that
not.
beat. That's a great beat.
It is a great fucking
Yeah.
beat. And the
Thank you.
the, like
You
the,
make
the
it?
machine gun sound or
No, I didn't make it. Yeah,
No,
I paid a lot of money for it, Thrak. Though. I did.
All right.
It was the only. There's a lot of music I can play in Fine Time that's like a lot cheaper. That one, I was like, no, if we're gonna have a legit hip hop beat for our intro, like a real one. And so I did pay for that. The rest of them kind of,
Hell yeah.
hey, you know,
Hell yeah.
Mad Lib would be proud.
yeah.
And oh boy, another returning guest who it's been a really long time, I think, since like July of last year, I believe. It's Mike. Hello, Mike. From the
Hi.
Quest 64 guys, everybody knows him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's me. I'm a guy. I don't have
It's great
a
having you
story
back.
about my theme song or a book analogy for my dick size, but I'm here.
I mean,
It's Moby
He's the
Dick,
mo-
of course.
he's
I mean, what else? Are we
He's the most famous one here. He's allowed to say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
when did that fucking episode come out? I'm looking it up. The best one, June 19. Fuck, I was so close. I said July.
Oh, we were pushing a year. We could have really went for it too, and we didn't make it.
That's my
I know,
favorite
man.
bit on Super Pod Saga. Aaron looking up stuff. It always
Yeah.
kills me. When the whole of Fine Time was on with you, we were talking about games. You kept looking up stuff on how long to beat. It was
Yep.
killing me. It was the funny. I don't know why. It was almost like a recurring bit that you didn't plan or something. It was excellent.
That's always Super Pod Saga's thing, dude. Like the most I plan is like, here, let me share my screen with you. I'll show you my fucking
Ooh.
weird
Yeah,
Word doc.
let me
I
look up
have.
my screen
Some
share
real
first.
behind the scenes.
Boom. Come on, screen share. Is it sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. There's my fucking Word doc, dude.
Man,
I jot down.
You
It's so
write,
disorganized.
Holy shit.
you write the quips down. The like,
Yeah.
I'm a certified.
Do
you write that.
Do you put
shit
in where you're
down.
gonna look up
Yeah.
how long
Got
a
it.
game is? Is that in there? I can't see that.
No, I do that on the spot.
That's
dude.
spontaneous.
Oh.
There's there's a hyperlink to how long to beat in there.
Yeah.
Or Wikipedia. I gotta have. It's not Super Pod. There's no Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget which Discord is. It might be Dave's Tales from the Backlog, where he has the how long to beat like bot in there.
Yeah, I
And I
stole
think-
that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, when he
Mhm.
installed it, all of us were just messing.
I like
with
that
it.
you had to
Putting
write a
in
note
games.
about yourself being a juggalo in case you forgot.
Yeah, dude. I always come up with those
Yeah.
dumb little quips, like
Just
when I'm
look in the
making
mirror.
lunch, or like I'm staring out the window, and I'll be like, "Ooh, that's a good one. I need to jot that down, or else I
Staring
will
out the
forget
window.
it." Yeah, dude.
Can't
Like when
forget.
I'm
He's
waiting
like
for my-
he's reading a book to his kid, and he's like, board certified juggalo. Damn it,
Yes.
slaps.
Yeah.
Hold on a
I'll be-
second.
I'll be waiting for my peanut butter toast in the toaster, and well, not peanut butter toast in the toaster, but like toast in the toaster to then peanut butter up.
I don't think you
Uh,
should put peanut butter in the toaster.
No, I've seen Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo way too many times to know that you don't
my
put
God.
like foods in toast in the toaster.
Yes.
I
Uh,
legitimately forgot that movie existed. I completely forgot. I don't know how. I haven't
Only
thought
on
about
Super
that in
Pod.
like forever. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, nowadays we don't. Nowadays we don't put Rob Schneider on our screens.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider is a
Oof.
grilled cheese.
Yeah, I gotta reset my Rob
PG
Schneider
13.
counter now. I gotta erase this chalkboard and put it back to 0.
Days since.
Mike's got a whole
Yeah.
fucking chalkboard over there full of his
Yeah.
notes. He's like,
Don't make
he's
me-
like
I
Good
spin
Will
my-
Hunting.
Spin my laptop around days since I talked about Rob Schneider.
There's a giant whiteboard behind you, and you have to like wipe off the number.
I went
can't-
from
I don't know
3
if
to
it's-
0.
And anytime you do mention Rob Schneider, it's always the same fucking movie. It's Deuce Bigelow 1.
Yeah.
There was a
What the
2?
fuck else?
There
Yeah,
was.
European
There-
Gigolo. It was
Oh,
terrible.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Mm.
How have I forgotten this part of my life? What the hell? I don't know, man. I think I don't know what happened to me.
I'm more.
It's-
I'm more a Benchwarmers guy.
You were living.
Oh, I forgot about Benchwarmers. Yeah, that's a good one.
That movie is awful, but it lives rent free in my head. I love it so much.
Dude, the animal, that one's also
This
terrible.
is like
and,
music to my ear hair, and then they're like trying to frame John Lovitz's ear hair when he says that. You can see it.
Clark, stop picking your nose. I'm not picking it, I'm scratching it. What are you scratching,
Scratching
your brain?
brain.
Yeah, 'cause it's
'cause
huge. It's the fucking best, bro.
Y'all are oh my god.
We're white Midwesterners, Dre.
Yeah,
just accept
I
it.
will. I have
Yeah.
no choice.
Fuck, Thrak, go ahead and then plug any of your stuff. Tell the listeners all about yourself.
Sure.
All your shit. Tell them about how you
All right.
lost your virginity outside English
We
class.
already
That's
did.
cool.
Unless you want to make
Yeah,
up a
the-
better
do it again.
story now.
that's how we got
I
here.
won't tell you all. Well-
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll call her real quick. No. So yeah, I'm Thrak. I have 2 podcasts and a stream. I'm an insane man. I co-host the 3DO Experience, where me and Bill from Gaming and Collecting talk about the 3DO, which is a lot of fun. I don't have to do much. Bill does all the work. But I
Nice.
am the co-host of the Frame by Frame podcast, which is about King Crimson, hence my name. That one I do all the work in, so it's a fair trade. And then also I stream on Twitch. I stream Wednesday evenings, play through a bunch of Sega Genesis games. I'm putting them in a list. You know, totally not ripping off Jeff Gertzman, I swear. But you know,
Jeff who?
Oh my
I don't even
god.
know the guy.
exactly. Who the fuck's that? Yeah. So
Jeff
but yeah,
Goldblum?
that,
Yeah. Same thing.
So that's what I do on occasion.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it or listed. Hey, Andre, tell everybody all about your show, the games you like. Maybe tell us about your favorite chicken sandwich. Why
It's
not?
Popeyes. How is anyone going to beat that? I mean,
Fuck
come on. I mean,
yes.
seriously, why even
Popeyes
talk
is
about
king.
anybody else?
Let's go.
I mean,
let's
it's
fucking go.
Popeye. The answer is Popeyes. I mean, please. But
Yeah, dude.
There's finally a Popeyes that's like 5 minutes from my house.
Oh my god, I have to travel so far for
Yes.
Popeyes still. There needs to be one in
I don't
in
anymore.
town, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy 35 minutes away. It's Popeyes. It's a lot.
Bro, now that you said that, I'm gonna go get Popeyes for lunch tomorrow.
Absolutely do that. Fine time is look, we just talk about whatever we're playing. It doesn't matter. We could be new. We could talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It could be old. We could talk about Quest 64 with Mike. It doesn't matter. Whatever we are into, that's what we're going to talk about. We love to cover industry news. We love all the Microsoft, Sony bullshit sniping at each other. We love to talk about that stuff. Also, we love to play games to embarrass each other, topics that we don't know a whole lot about. It's funny when we don't know stuff. So, but yeah, we just, whatever's on our mind, we say it out there. It's a good old video game podcast with three friends. So come have a fine time with us.
Yes, you need to get a business card that says it's like the card from like the Santa Claus, except way cooler. It's like come have a fine time with Fine Time, and that's got like a QR code, and you scan it, and it takes you right to like Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, or something.
Oh my god, not my link tree or something, just like a torrented version of like
yeah, like
I'm like
really
123movies.cc or something.
an incredibly like compressed version of Deuce Bigelow or whatever
Just
he
imagine,
talks. He's like, I'm here to take care of your fish.
No, see, now imagining like American Psycho, all three of you made your own business cards and you're comparing them, and you're just like staring at his like it's fucking eggshell. Oh, and he had indentions in it. God damn it.
The show is far. I was not prepared to be this Midwestern today. I really wasn't. I'm telling you. I'm just letting you know. I mean, it's fine. I know that's your demo. I'm just saying.
Yeah. God damn it. Hello, Mike. Yeah, it's been a long time, man. Go ahead and talk about anything you do, dude. Tell the listeners all about yourself and your favorite games and maybe your favorite bacon cheeseburger, maybe.
Oh, well, Culver's is better than Popeyes for both bacon cheeseburgers and chicken sandwiches, but
we don't
Culver's
have
is
Culver's
good
out here, so I don't know.
Culver's is the Midwestern answer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Culver's is great.
I'm just softball underhand pitching to the demographic here, I don't really do a lot of stuff. I'm on Twitter, so that's probably where you know me from. I don't do things elsewhere. I'm trying to chase Pat Finnerty, the That's Why This Song Stinks guy on YouTube, trying to use my Twitter clout to get him to put Quest 64 on his pedal mobile, which is a guitar pedal thing that rotates around his head.
Yeah.
I've been spending a few days on that now, and that's kind of what my life goal is right now. I've put aside all of the important history to chase a YouTuber to put Quest 64 on his show.
It's a noble goal, really.
If you guys don't if you guys don't know, look him up. The series is called What Makes the Song Stink, and it is a fantastic series. Love it to death.
Yeah, he's like a prodigy or something.
I'm glad he stopped the podcast version. I didn't like the podcast version.
I don't. No, the regular one and then the little stinkers are both excellent.
Oh yeah.
The little stinkers.
And then he started a whole emo band, August is Falling, just because he wanted money to put a hot tub in his garage. And they put out an EP and he recorded it, and it was and it's good. Like as far as
it's not bad. Yeah,
commercial emo music, it's solid. No, he's great. Yeah, if you don't watch Pat Finnerty,
it was on
screwing things up.
It was on his episode. It was on his episode when he was talking about Machine Gun Kelly's emo girl song.
Emo girl. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, everybody's doing better stuff than me, so I'm more than happy to come on and talk about everybody else's better stuff.
Oh man, come on! The stuff you're doing is super rad, though.
Dude, you're the celebrity here.
Yeah, he's definitely the most famous by far.
I don't do anything.
He does everything. Don't listen to him, audience.
He's spreading the gospel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played Quest 64 front to back. If that's not doing something, then I don't know what is.
Before we get to the Q&A, we'll take a short break, listen to some cool tunes, and we'll be right back. For this segment of the show, I ask my Discord server a question related to the topic, read on the show, answers questions. I answer those questions. So I asked them, what are some of your favorite handheld ports of games? Any home console game that was also ported to a handheld console? To which Real Dave Jackson, immediately said, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on GBA blew my mind. It's basically the same as the console version, and it ruled. Nice.
I don't know anything about Tony Hawk. Maybe the Kevin on Fine Time would know about this. He's probably played it before.
I have a box copy of it over there, and it is a fantastic version of Tony Hawk. They were able to do a fantastic job of taking that game and putting it on the GBA in a way that it's not the same as the console version, obviously, but the version that we get is fantastic. And there were quite like 3, 4, the Undergrounds, even like American Skateland all showed up on GBA, and they're all solid versions.
That's pretty cool. Thrak, you can do the next one.
Which one's the next one? Is it from Jeff?
It's from Wumbo Pucksort, which is our own
who's
resident
that?
Mike.
Who's that? Yeah. He says, and I quote, handheld ports are the worst, and I live everything. Love even. But also, Daikatana and BattleTanx Game Boy Color were good. I enjoyed them.
I still can't believe there's Daikatana on the fucking Game Boy Color,
that
dude.
exists.
That's
so weird.
And it's better. It's better than the
yeah.
actual
It's not
version.
a first-person shooter either. It's a like Zelda-esque RPG like overhead thing.
Wow.
It is not one of the games I played for today because it was too good for my list. Like I wanted to dedicate more time to it.
It's
Too good
surprisingly
for this show.
competent. It's surprisingly competent.
Whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, it really is like a Zelda game. What the shit?
Yeah,
That's
with lots
so
of dialogue.
weird.
There were a
like
lot of
whole
Zelda
story.
clones on Game Boy.
I know when we started, I said I was playing that, and I did start playing it, and then I decided that I needed to play like 4 whole games, and I wanted to put like 50 hours into that, so that was going to derail this whole thing. So I didn't play
You're
it.
going to have to
I
wait
stopped.
for that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be in the future.
That actually happened a few times. I was playing Perfect Dark too, and then I found out that the Perfect Dark Game Boy Color game is also awesome, and I needed to spend more time on that. So you guys don't get that either. Suck
Oh
it.
No!
What the fuck?
That was actually I was gonna say that was actually on my list as well, but I stopped playing it because I was like, I want to do this separate.
Whoa.
It is good.
Andre, you can have the next one from the Cthusiast Jeff.
Oh, the Cthusiast Jeff says, favorite ports that I've played are Killer Instinct on Game Boy and Super Mario Advance on Game Boy Advance. And Aaron, I'm sorry to insult your listeners, but Jeff, what's wrong with you? Killer Instinct on Game Boy? That is fucking terrible.
Jeff's a weird guy. He's a weird dude. He is.
I love Jeff, dude.
Look, I like him as well, but like if you're in the Discord and chat with him, his opinions are surprisingly different.
No, I like Jeff. I'm sorry, but it's just the Killer Instinct is killing me. Look, the games I'm going to talk about today are not all like big winners either. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about them because I think they're interesting. At the same time, Killer Instinct, oh baby, it took me aback.
Are there any good fighting games on the original Game Boy?
I don't
you
think
might find
so.
out in a second.
Ooh,
okay.
Exciting. But yeah, Super Mario Advance on the GBA, fantastic. It was the first Game Boy Advance game I ever played. Because one of the kids my mom used to babysit for at the time, she would bring her original Game Boy Advance with that. And we were like, this is so fucking cool. So
I think it's wild that I think Mike's closer to my age, but more in Thrak's age group that like their Mario experience was like first ones were like Game Boy Advance practically and not like, you know what I mean? Not even like Mario All-Stars or whatever. Like it had gotten so far down the road at that point where like Super Mario Advance was it for like a lot of people, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that like I don't know. It just makes me feel old. That's all. I wanted to say it out loud.
I did grow up with Mario 1 and 3 on the NES because we had an NES. But Super Mario Advance was probably the first like new Mario game I played. Like I didn't play any of the 3D ones until later.
Gotcha.
Like I played Sunshine before 64.
Wild.
Showing my age, I guess.
Wild. Mike, you can have the next one from Nomad.
Max Payne on the Game Boy Advance. They took a third-person shooter and made it an isometric shooter. Bullet time still works solid. 2. I've never played it.
I never played it either. I didn't even know that existed.
What the fuck?
I'm a bit of a GBA collector. I have it over there in one of those like retro game cases. It is.
Whoa.
It's just the first Max Payne in like an isometric, like a third person shooter, and again, surprisingly competent. Like it works really well. It even retains like some of that comic book style like cutscenes that are between the levels as well. You know, it's the same game, but it's definitely like they cut a lot of the levels down.
That is cool as shit.
It runs very smooth too. Like a lot of GBA ports run kind of slow, you know, but Max Payne is like, I'm pretty sure it's hitting 30.
Yeah,
damn.
I do not know if I've ever played through a full Max Payne game. Any of them.
I
don't think
have
I have
not.
either.
I definitely have not.
Oh, they're so good. I played through all 3 when they hit backwards compatible on the Xbox, and great time. I liked all 3 of them for different reasons, but that is another show.
Speaking of hitting 30, Judge Bread, he says, believe it or not, Need for Speed Underground on Game Boy Advance. They pushed the little handheld to its limits graphically and was pretty darn close to the console version. Fully customizable cars, licensed music, Get Low by Little John and the East Side Boys, of course, etc. Damn, imagine Little John and the East Side Boys on Game Boy Advance, just horribly, horribly compressed.
Imagine them playing it.
To the windows. Fucking
like Lil Jon's playing it, and they're like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he just goes, "Okay."
What?
Oh, I cannot cringe more.
I hurt.
Dude, I'm about it.
I'm trying.
I love, like, other than when a handheld gets locked into a single song, like, I love hearing the, like, 16-bit versions of songs. I think that's great.
Sometimes they can be really good, yeah.
Then I don't love it.
I guess Thrak gets the last one from Adam.
Ooh. Adam, he says, Mario Tennis was one of my favorites as they completely removed the story and RPG elements from the N64 version.
Fuck yeah, Mario on Game Boy Color slaps.
Wasn't Tennis an RPG on Game Boy Color?
Yeah, he's saying that like the Game Boy Color version was better because the N64 version did not have the RPG shit.
Okay. The way you worded it was weird, but yeah, love that version. Also Mario Golf on Game Boy Color.
Yeah, that shit too.
Masterpiece. Yeah.
Those fuckers are so good. What the fuck is the Neo Geo Pocket Color golf game?
Is it Neo Turf Masters?
Neo Turf Masters. Yeah, I don't know if that counts as like a handheld port.
It sure does. Like it's the best golf game of all time, but they're not allowed to call that anymore, if you notice. Now it has to go by the Japanese title Big Tournament Golf because Masters, I think the Masters got up their ass about it. PGA. So like even if you have like the arcade archives version, it has now been like all versions have been changed to Big Tournament Golf. It's the same thing, obviously, but
I think it's because the PGA have like trademarked that term for golf or something like that, because the new EA Sports PGA is like EA Sports like PGA Masters tournament or whatever.
Something happened there, so they can't do it. Yeah,
but Neo Turf Masters probably the best golf game ever made.
There's no doubt. Absolutely.
Probably, yeah. Who do you pick? Who's your player?
The dude who has like the orange shirt and he does like this pose when he gets a birdie or something. This one.
I picked the German guy because he has like the sick drive. You can just
sick drive.
Like seriously, you can get like 300 yards on that thing. It is awesome.
It's a great game, and it's good on Neo Geo Pocket Color.
I was actually playing it this morning on my Ambernick.
God damn it! I fucking love Neo Geo Pocket Color so much. Yeah, that's it for the Q&A. Let's take another quick break. Quick, slim, fast break. I don't fucking know. And
Slim Jim.
Snap into a break.
Why is that funny?
Snap into a break. I like it. No, you're snapping it, but then it breaks.
Yeah.
Snaps and breaks. Rip and tear.
Breaks and snaps. I almost said snacks. I mean,
Same
Slim Jim
thing.
is a snack. Yeah.
I don't know if we ever really said what the theme was, or not the theme, the topic was for today. But yeah, we're just talking about the best handheld ports of games. Well, I guess best or weirdest, wonkiest, whatever we want to go with. Just handheld ports of console games. I did my favorite ones, so hopefully you guys did too.
I did a little bit of
Nope,
cheating. I did some
definitely
arcade
not.
stuff, so hopefully you can forgive
That's
me.
fine too.
I,
Yeah,
I essentially picked 4 that I wanted to play anyways. They
yeah.
were like in my
Yeah.
backlog, so I
That's sort
figured
of what I did. 4 that I haven't played
gives
yet,
me an
but
excuse.
you know,
That's what I did too. These I have never played before.
And one I played specifically for Mike. Just for
And I
you,
For
love
his
it.
Mike.
approval, for yeah.
Well, to be fair, I wanted to play it anyways, so
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, well, I wanna talk about the one that's been. It's always on my mind. It's like that one. I think it's an Elvis song. I don't know where he's like, "You are always on my
I
mind." I
think
don't know
it
who
is
the
an
fuck
Elvis
sings
song.
that,
Yeah,
but
I think so.
yeah, it sounds
okay.
like Elvis.
Hey, shout out to Elvis. But
Yeah, let's get a
I want
retweet
to
from
talk.
Elvis.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
wait, you're always on my mind is Willie Nelson. I think.
Is it?
Is it?
Let's
I
pause
believe
and
so.
look it
Well,
up.
I think he did a version of it.
Yeah, I think it was.
Elvis did a version. Willie Nelson did a version. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
one of those
well,
kind of Pet
Yeah,
Shop Boys did a
See,
version.
that's how I know it is Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Holy
That's
shit.
Pet Shop Boys.
That's a
The
great
East End
version.
Boys and the West End Girls.
I love Pet Shop Boys.
Great band.
Regardless, I want to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS because I'm still fucking thrown away that they got a fucking whole ass like gigantic Wii game on a 3DS, and it plays really well. It looks really fucking good, and they even added they streamlined a lot of the combat. They streamlined a lot of how the side quests worked and everything. Like it's everything you know and love about the original game on the Wii, but it's even better. Like it's in a handheld form. You can play it fucking anywhere. Just pop in headphones, play it on like the bus. I played it at work a lot, and yeah, it's great, man.
Wasn't it specifically on the new 3DS?
Yes.
Was it one of those
Yes.
games?
Mhm.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. There were a lot of games, and even like the Super Nintendo Virtual Console was only on the new 3DS because it had that extra processing power and shit.
Yeah, because the 3DS could not run a Super Nintendo game. The old one. It was
No,
just
dude.
impossible.
The same with Minecraft. I bought my kid Minecraft, and he didn't have a new
Oh, yeah.
3DS,
Yeah.
and it was bogus. I had to go buy another whole system
That's terrible.
for Minecraft,
Oof.
mind
Yeah.
you. That plays on everything in my house. But let's get another handheld.
You can
too.
play it on your.
Yeah,
You can go
I
buy them
know.
like a used fucking Samsung Galaxy S4 and download Minecraft on that.
My
and you
man,
can
I
play it
know, but
there.
I'd already bought the game. I was pot committed. Like I had the game, and
That's awesome. though, man.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS is the version I played originally. I did not play this game originally on Wii. I was out on Nintendo at that time. So, and then when I came
Yeah.
around, I got when they announced Switch, that Black Friday in 2016, I got a new 3DS for like $100. So I'm like, okay, let's see what I can do on this thing. And that was one of the first things I got. And I was like, okay, I'll play it this way. I heard it's a good version. I looked up the Wii version afterwards. I feel like I lost nothing by playing the 3DS version. That version is so complete and so good that I'm blown away, and I didn't even play it before, right? Like that is one of the best
Yeah.
ports I've ever seen, honestly.
The only complaint I have with it is that like yeah, sometimes the visuals can look kind of muddy, like kind of
Eh,
primitive, but I
it's
mean, it's not bad.
it's
It's
kind
not
of
bad for
PS1-y
3DS.
sometimes. Yeah, sure, but like it
Yeah.
honestly on that small screen it works. I think it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I mean, the definitive edition on Switch, it cleared up a lot of things even more. Yeah, that guy right there. Right, it did a lot more. Like added new all the DLC shit. It made everything look prettier and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you have a 3DS and you have the ability to get the 3DS version, I think that's still a really really good way to play the
100%.
game.
And
I
I
do
have
not.
played Xenoblade Chronicles Switch, a definitive edition, if you will, and I played it all over again, and I love that too. But yeah, that 3DS version will still be pretty impressive to me always.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
I have yet to ever play a Xenoblade game.
dude. Play
Okay.
that one.
I bought this when it came out because I thought, oh, that'd be cool to play. When did this come out?
Yeah, it was
2020.
I
during
think so.
lockdown time. That's kind of why I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 4 years. All I did was go, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
and close it up.
It Xenoblade always has such a
It's
special
too.
place
I don't
in
know.
my
Something
heart.
about it looks like it's too daunting for me. I don't know what it is.
No. No, man. Once you get the ball fucking rolling on that game, dude, it's hard to put down because there's kind of like a little bit of a loot system to it because like enemies drop treasure chests and then you can um build your characters for different things. Like there's essentially like Xenoblade uses this like a 3-person party system where you have like a DPS, tank, and healer, and there's like 6 or 7 different party members, I forget, and each one is essentially like a different version of that class. So like Shulk will be like your main DPS for a little while, and then you'll get like uh his girlfriend lady, I forget her fucking name, or like I don't know. It's really fucking fun, man. Give her a chance. It's
I will.
awesome.
I'll
Yeah.
get to it at some point. There's just too many games to play.
Yep. Feel that. Speaking of too many games,
Who?
which first pick?
Who should go?
Oh,
Oh my
anybody.
God, this is, you really are free for all. Okay, fine, I'll go next. How about that? All
Andre, yeah,
right, I'll do
let's
it.
do it.
Okay, so I got a PlayStation for my 14th birthday. So this would be May 96. So pretty early in the system's life, like within the first like 6 months or so, or close to it. And like any 14-year-old, I was heavily interested in a little thing. See, I'm doing the James Lipton again. I was interested in a little thing called Battle Arena Toshinden. And it's hard
Ooh.
to remember now because nobody cares, but the first couple of Toshinden games were huge. Like they were a big deal. Not just among like people who were buying this new fresh system, but like they were kind of a thing, because it was like the first 3D fighter that had weapons, and you could like dodge roll, and you had this like very anime cast of characters, and like it was just perfect for the mid 90s, right? And then there was also a Game Boy version.
Did this game?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Question: Did this game walk so like a Soul Calibur could run?
Soul Edge came out, I want to say, like less than a year after this. So I
Okay.
would assume that Namco was probably already working on a game like that. But like, yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay,
What about like
Essentially.
what
because
about
the
like the last
screenshots
blade?
I'm looking at, it gives a vibe of like Soul Calibur 1.
Yeah, but
Like
it doesn't
like
play.
the UI looks and everything. It
Yes,
just
but
has a similar
it
feel.
plays more like a 2D fighter though, because you have commands like Dragon Punch commands and fireballs and stuff like that, like a 2D fighter. You know what I mean? So it's not like combo based like a Soul Calibur or Tekken, if you will, right? It's more like
Okay.
doing them flashy moves, which is like the appeal of it. But like again, there was a Game Boy version. So it's like, okay, how do you squash down these 3D graphics onto Game Boy? Obviously the answer is you don't, right? So you make a 2D fighter instead. But historically, as I laughed at earlier, fighting games on Game Boy never seem to work out, as like Killer Instinct and like other games have shown. It's always like sluggish and bad. But hey, it was 1996. The Game Boy had been out for like many years, right? Maybe they could figure it out. Nah, not really. They didn't really figure it out. But ultimately, that's okay because here's like a dirty little secret. Toshinden on PlayStation was not really that good either. Like it was good at the time and I loved it, and it looked great, but like gameplay wise, it was always kind of like, when you go back to it, it's definitely not something you're like, "Oh man, this is the shit." Whatever. Point is, I think the Game Boy version of Battle Arena Toshinden is really good because of the way they squashed everything down. They literally made the characters like chibi or super deformed style as you did in the 90s, right? With the big heads and whatever, like, and all the characters look really good that way. I love, as Mike was saying earlier about like sort of making music. I really like the 8-bit versions of the Red Book music on PlayStation. They did a really good job on that. They sound fun and that they're recognizable as those songs. Because as you might know like that kind of music at the time is just very distinctly of that time, so it
Yeah.
works. But it doesn't really play the best. Usually when a fighting game controls bad, I like to say it controls like wet butt, which is always my go-to for some reason. Toshinden on Game Boy controls like wet butt, unfortunately.
Is there a game that controls like dry butt?
I don't think
And is that an
Blubber.
so.
improvement?
Is that better or worse?
I don't know. See, I don't know if dry butt's better than wet butt. I feel like dry butt is slightly better, not much better. It's still
Okay.
butt at the end of the day. It's all cheeks.
That's true.
It's all cheeks to me. But yeah, it's even though it's 2D, like it's good luck getting those moves to come out. It just doesn't happen. I was using a character I was pretty familiar with, and I just couldn't get it to go. So like it's really stiff, but it has that charm. They added like a few things. They added like little story things when you pick a character and then before you start your first fight. The original game doesn't have that. So they tried to gussy it up a little bit for Game Boy, but ultimately it still falls in the trap of like, this isn't really that good. But honestly though, if I had this back in the day, I would have been fine with it, but it is aged like butt, maybe. Aged like wet butt, excuse me.
Wet
Butt. But yeah,
So
that's
so,
Toshinden, I guess.
so it sounds like in the realm of Game Boy fighters, it may be in say the upper half, but like just barely.
Yeah, but that bar is so low.
It's already a low bar. Like
I was about to say,
I-
like, what do you consider the top echelon for like Game Boy
maybe
no
Street
fighting
Fighter
games?
Alpha,
Well,
maybe.
I'll say the alpha on Game Boy Advance is pretty good.
That's okay,
But
I
Advance
guess.
is a
But
whole
once you get to
different
Game Boy
thing.
Advance, you start
That's
getting better. But like
different.
on Game Boy,
Yeah,
oh
but
man, it's
yeah,
rough.
because or like that port of Mortal Kombat 1 on Game Boy. Like now that's some
No,
wet butt right
that's
there.
total wet butt. My
Oh,
friend
Wet
had Mortal
butt.
Kombat 2 on Game Boy, and it
awful.
was the wettest butt I've ever touched in my life. It was terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, so
The wettest
the
butt.
legacy of Game Boy Fighters is not saved by Toshinden, but it's charming. And I think for 1996, that's all it really needed to be. So
Like the graphics, I was looking at some screenshots. It looked like kind of like a Neo Geo Pocket fighter.
yes, and that's what.
It has that like kind of weird.
Yeah,
look
that's
to
what
it.
I was expecting it to play like. I'm like, okay, maybe this is because I think the Neo Geo Pocket Color Fighters play good. I think those are fun.
Oh yeah,
But I was kind of
absolutely.
that's why I picked this up
Fucking
because I was like,
beautiful.
maybe Toshinden is like kind of the start of the. No, it's not. This plays like butt. So yeah. Oh well. It's fun though. Looks good.
Did
It's a curiosity.
they come out around the same time? Ooh, yeah, man. Toshinden came out in '96, and I was looking at King of Fighters R1 on Neo Geo Pocket Color. Again, I'm looking shit up. That came out in '98.
Yeah.
Fucking
The
Neo Geo
secret's out.
Pocket. Fuck it, yeah. Neo Geo Pocket Color Fighters, or not Pocket Color, Neo Geo Pocket Fighters are so
They're
fucking
fun. They're a
dude.
lot of fun. I'm surprised when I finally because they started putting some of them out on Switch or whatever, and I tried some. They're really fun.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Speaking of fun, who wants to go next?
Me.
Yeah, Dre again.
Me, Andre,
Yes.
Andre.
All right, I guess I'll go real quick. So, so you guys have heard of a guy named Pac-Man, right? He's like this yellow ball thing.
What?
Relatively obscure character.
He's like a yellow ball. Yeah,
What,
relatively
man?
obscure. He's got a mouth. We know what that mouth do. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's not bonk.
Oh, but anyways, so on the PlayStation, I guess we'll stay with PlayStation. They put out a little game called Pac-Man World, which I guess was their attempt to be like, hey, we should do like the Mario 64 thing, but with Pac-Man. Try to transition them over. And that game is surprisingly good for what it is.
Yeah.
And they crammed it all on a Game Boy Advance cart. And there's it's one of like there's like a handful of PS1 ports to Game Boy Advance. And they range in quality, like some are pretty bad. But I got to say this is probably one of the better ones, even though I think it's kind of like it's fine. Like I think the original Pac-Man World hasn't aged the best, despite it being like not a bad 3D platformer for its day. But it was more of like it feels like it's trying to be more of like a 2D platformer, but like within like a 3D space, And the Game Boy Advance tries to replicate that, but it has some issues with say like the screen being a little too small. So some of your jumps, which would be like normal jumps on the PS1 version, become more like leaps of faith, and those can be issues. And the depth perception really fucked with me on this because it's like it's trying to do like the fake 2D 3D thing, when you say like you draw two squares and put a line on it on a piece of paper. You're like, that's
Yeah.
3D. That's what it looks like. So the jumping can be a bit iffy, and there were way too many times I totally whiffed a jump when it looks like I shouldn't have at all. But again, even still, like they compress the hell out of the music, and they're shorter versions of the tunes, but they're
course.
not bad. Pac-Man still has all of his normal abilities. You still have all of, like, the different power-ups and the little secrets and all that, and you still fight the final boss, the normal one, though it's a much shorter experience. And it's fine. It's not bad or anything, but if you wanted to play Pac-Man World, I mean, just play the remake. The remake that came out, surprisingly, they did a remake of it, and that remake is
still so
really
weird.
strange.
yeah, like, because when they did the Pac-Man Museum thing, I think a lot of us were like, why not just do a world collection? Like, do 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, we're gonna remake 1. It's like,
Yes.
shit, okay, and that was cool. And just as a side note, they also did this with Pac-Man World 2, but Pac-Man World 2 on GBA is like a 2D sprite art thing, and much like Pac-Man World, the real Pac-Man World 2, it is much better. So
Yeah.
I would play that one.
Dude,
But Pac-Man World 1, it's fine.
the little pixely sprites for Pac-Man in Pac-Man World 2 for GBA, they look so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a straight
pop it in
2D
chat.
platformer. They're not doing the weird 2D, 3D thing. So
Yeah, they look super cute, super cool. That's awesome.
I just watched a short little thing of the first one that he was talking about, and it reminds me a lot of the Cool Spot game on Genesis, especially when you started talking about getting lost in that like
Cool
2D
Spot.
2D,
like 3D jumping thing. That's the game I always think about where I feel like I'm jumping correctly, and I'm never jumping correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I'm terrible at platformers.
And it doesn't do a good job of like having that shadow, so where you can kind of judge where you're going to land. So it's a shame because the game took a little bit longer than I expected it to because of that. But I think I beat it in like a couple hours.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Hey, Mike.
Hey,
my man,
Hi.
it's your
what's
turn,
up, dude?
Hey,
hello.
I like
Mike.
Hi, hey guys. So I told him I was yeah, it's cool. I was gonna play because I'm the N64 guy. I decided I was gonna play all Game Boy Color ports of N64 games, and what I learned playing these is a lot of humility and a lot of like meeting games on their own terms, because obviously going from like the N64 to the Game Boy Color was not the easiest adjustment for me. I'm planning on playing them all anyway, but this was like cannonballing into the like Marriott 4-foot swimming pool that hasn't been cleaned out in a while. Like, I don't like to dump on games, but like obviously it's hard to make a transition from a system that I've played like thousands of hours of and then go to a system that's a significant graphical step backwards, and then try to re-experience games that I've played lots of. And so yeah, I usually talk a lot about game. Thrak just said that games, the Pac-Man World maybe didn't age well, and I say that games don't age. We do. It's something. If you had played the Pac-Man World game when it came out on Game Boy Advance, it probably wouldn't have felt like it aged at all for him to play it now, because the game hasn't changed at all. Like, just our perception of what games are and what games can be has changed. I didn't play any of these games when they came out, so I have none of that.
Yeah.
I'm experiencing all of these for the first time, and it's hard. It's a big adjustment for me. So I picked Turok 2 for my first one.
Oh,
I don't think I played that.
I think I've played that one.
Yeah.
So Turok 2, is that the one where it starts out with the first level? You're in like the city, and like some of the humans are like dinosaurs. You have to go get all this, like go to all the way to the end of the stage, get the stuff, and then go all the way back.
Yes, correct.
Go through,
You're
yes.
Jacob or Joshua Fireseed, but instead of being an awesome bow wielding first person shooter dinosaur destroyer, you're like a normal humans man detective trying to figure out if people are humans or reptilians,
That's so
like
weird.
Alex Jones style. And it's real weird trying to jump
Which
into
ones
that.
are gay?
Yeah. And the mechanic is press the select button, because that's natural video game stuff. There is press the select button on people to see if they're reptiles. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
hard.
you get
It
like
was real hard for
you get
me.
like you get like the X-ray specs, and at first you can punch
Yep.
them to freeze them, but later you
Yeah,
get the
'cause
knife, and then you can actually kill them
Press
yeah, because
select to
punching
jump.
people doesn't hurt them at all. Yeah, yeah, it's
naturally.
crazy. And then later on, like they add. Okay, so I should preface that Activision straight up said these stories are different. They're separate. Like these don't coincide. This one's not canon, to the series on the N64. So all of this weird stuff is completely acceptable because it's not canon or whatever. But later on, you end up fighting or running from the boss, which is a huge one of the sandworms from Dune, because everybody remembers that part of Turok where the Shai Halud and the Farron piss off the dinosaur hunter. And like, man, I'm gonna tell you, this game was just something
Sounds so
else
wild.
for me.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Turok 2, and that was the huge adjustment because I played a ton of, like, there was no cerebral bore. It was like a shotgun and a knife and a bow,
That's so weird.
and that was like it. And it was
And
Contra style, like side
What the
scroller
fuck?
shooting. And one
yeah,
of the really weird
it's-
mechanics was like if an enemy was stationary and they were shooting a gun, you could walk right through them. The enemies that were walking around could hurt you, but the enemies that were
What
shooting
the
projectiles were
fuck?
like turrets or something. Like even if they were the same sprite, so you had to figure out which enemies were like actually actively attacking you and which ones were shooting projectiles. There was a huge learning curve that I was not expecting for a Turok
Jesus Christ.
side-scrolling game, and it was rough on my brain. And this was the first one of the 4 games that we were all supposed to play. And after that, I had to take a solid 12 hours off of
Wow.
video games to go
Take a
reevaluate
fucking
my
bath.
life.
Take a bath and fucking.
Yeah,
That's like
clocked out. You clocked out for the day.
that's
yeah,
like
I was
walking
done.
into like arithmetic or like basic math, and they're like, "What's up, boy? We're doing trigonometry," and like, fuck, man.
It's like,
Yeah.
bye. I'm out of
Yeah,
here.
I grew up with this game. So like I've never played N64 Turok 2. I've only played this Game Boy version. So to me, all the weird shit in that game is normal. Like that's how I know Turok 2. So different perspectives.
That is a weird perspective then, as I would
Yeah.
imagine most people played the N64 version,
Yeah.
which
But I can
also was one of the goriest games on the N64. Like mature, like I said, cerebral bore, chopping guys up.
Yeah,
The
fucking
Game Boy Color
cerebral
one is
bore,
E
dude.
for everyone, which was also not something I was expecting.
Man.
yeah,
But
there's
obviously I
like
went with
all
it.
the like all the bullets are just like little like balls. Like those
Yeah.
little like
Yep.
yeah, like those NES like
Oh
Contra
my
balls.
god, dude.
Yeah. But
Yeah, Nerf balls.
Mike, can we agree the music in the Game Boy version is pretty good?
I liked it. Yeah. This that was
Like
actually some of
especially
the
that
high point of music that I played. So.
like especially that first level, like that tune lives in my brain. Like when you guys get a chance, look up like the Turok 2 Game Boy like OST and just listen to that first level's music. It's really good.
That's a
Yeah.
tall order, man,
Yeah.
because I'm pretty hooked on the Grandia 2 OST right now.
That's a good
Oh,
OST.
both of us are.
That's a good OST.
Oh,
Foreshadowing.
yeah. Spoilers. We are gonna do that game for fine time soon.
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
cannot wait. I am excited as
I'm
heck.
I'm playing
excited
it
to
on
listen to it.
Switch right now as well, so we're all playing it. So.
Yes,
Ooh.
that's what we're
Oh,
doing. Yeah.
Shit, I need to play it then.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I grew up on Dreamcast, and having that game was amazing. That was one of the best RPGs on the Dreamcast, or at least ones that I owned. So I have strong feelings.
It's
about
my
games like
favorite RPG of all time.
It's so fucking
Straight
good,
up.
dude.
That Skies of Arcadia, you're good, man.
Speaking of great fucking RPGs, the DS port of Chrono Trigger is so
yes.
fucking sweet, dude.
Very good.
So
Really?
so the DS port is based like almost entirely off of the original SNES version. So they cut out a lot of the dumb garbage that they added in the PS1 version, but they still have like the little anime cutscenes every so
Yeah.
often. Of course, they're kind of yeah, dude.
The Japanese version is cheaper, and it has the English language, so you can
Oh.
import it and play it.
It's got that cool cover too. But yeah, the DS version also in the original version, like on the SNES, sometimes in combat it feels really fucking cluttered because you'll have like all of your health bars, like say down here taking up the whole screen, and then like the your attacks and commands or whatever up here at the top of the screen taking up even more of the screen. So you have like just here to see your characters and shit. Not on the DS, bitch, because you have one screen for your party members and the enemies, and then the other screen is where all of your like health bars and like commands and shit go, which is really cool. Cleans up the screen a lot. It adds
Seems so cool.
it adds a couple new dungeons which like aren't the best, but they kind of link it up with Chrono Cross a little bit more, which is really really cool. Fuck, what else did they add?
They have the PS1 like FMVs.
Yeah,
PS1 version. Those are there as well.
yeah, dude. Then yeah, it's really just I think the best way to play it as of right now, because like they haven't ported it to. I think they have it on PC, but if
The
I
Steam
remember,
version is better. Like when it launched, it was awful, but if you ask people now, it's a better version. They've cleaned it up.
that's good.
I'd still recommend the DS version.
I've only ever played it when it came out on Super Nintendo. I've never played another version of Chrono Trigger, so it's probably high time that I do, honestly.
See, I'm the opposite. I've only played the DS version. I've never played it on Super Nintendo.
Dude, yeah,
Wow.
the DS version, it's a really fucking solid version of that game. Like I don't know. You think to yourself, how the fuck could they make Chrono Trigger any better? And they did. They did fucking the two screens, man. The two fucking screens.
It makes a lot of things better.
And it's a perfect kind of portable RPG as well, because Chrono Trigger is famous for not being super long, you know.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get a like couple sessions in here and there as well. And yeah,
I remember people were mad at the time when it came out because Square was doing the Square tax. They charged $40 for it, which
was
that was like
$80 at
above
the
a lot
time?
of other DS games. So like, no, not at the time.
Like
But
the
well, I mean, I paid $80 for my Super
That's what I
Nintendo
was.
version.
That's what I was referencing. The Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, that was a pretty penny,
The
obviously.
DS
But
version
like,
is
you know,
also holy shit, $118 for a loose copy, or not loose copy, sorry, complete in box copy, $80 for a loose copy. Holy shit!
Look up the price of the Japanese version. It is significantly cheaper.
yo ho, a pirate's
Fuck, man.
life for
Yeah.
me.
Speaking of pirates, hey Andre, what's your next one?
I'm a
Yeah,
pirate.
Yeah.
I wish
I
I were a
Japanese
pirate. Um, well, as I'm sure everyone knows, most of my formative years were spent at the arcade. That was my happy place. That's where I loved more than playing games at home. I was a Nintendo kid. I had a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, whatever. I wanted to go to the arcade. That was it for me. And I did a lot. And one of the games I played a fair amount in the early 90s was a little thing. I did it again. It was a little thing called Terminator 2.
Ooh.
Judgment Day. You ever hear of this movie? And then they made an arcade game out of it where you had a mounted light gun with like this real nice bucking action, and you just shot the hell out of all these exoskeletons and Skynet ships or whatever the hell they are called. And it was like incredible. It was like the perfect thing to put like $2 into, have fun for a few minutes. Yeah, it's cheap as hell and they blow you away, but you saw some really cool graphics, right? And I knew this at the time because I remember magazine advertisements for it, but there's a version for home systems, SNES, Genesis, or whatever, but also Game Boy. And so, and when it came home, it was called T2 the arcade game, I think, not Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And you know, if the conceit of that always pissed me off, like shit, like TMNT 2 the arcade game, and it's like, bitch, you can't fool me. Look at this shit. This is not the arcade game. Bullshit.
You're the
Anyway,
Terminator arcade expert.
Yeah, I'm the arcade expert at 8 years old. I was like a arcade hipster. So,
Just imagine you
so
like the
I
bouncer at the arcade, like get out of here, kid. You're not ready for
Talking
this.
shit to other
yeah.
kids that you can't fool me. That's not TMNT, the arcade game. Oh, I'm trying to do an 8-year-old voice, but it's not coming across well.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that's exactly how I sounded in 1990. You nailed it. Yeah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, there's this version for Game Boy. So I thought for this project, yeah, you know what? Let's try it. Let's try something that looks so crazy at the arcade that there's no way they could do it on Game Boy. And you know what though? This was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I actually really enjoyed myself. Now, obviously, it's a Game Boy. It's not going to look like the arcade game, but they have the right details. Like, you still have the exoskeletons walking up to you in the foreground. You still have
Oh
the
shit.
helicopter things in the background, and you can shoot missiles at them, and you have your machine gun, and you move your cursor along. Obviously, the Game Boy doesn't have a light gun attachment. Imagine that hilarious shit. So, like, yeah, but so you move the cursor around and shoot things much like you do any other light gun game at home where you don't have the light gun. But it really does work. It's not that it feels exactly like the arcade game, because look, let's face it, the arcade game is designed to take your money. That's what it's there for. It's really hard and it's really cheap, and you want to see the Terminator graphics. You want to hope you last as long or have enough change in your pocket to get to the part where you actually fight the T-2000 or whatever and shoot the what's that thing where you shoot the tanker behind them, you know what I mean? And it has the cooling agent on them. I remember seeing that in the track screens, but I never had enough money to get there because the game was so fucking hard. Anyway, playing this on a Game Boy, honestly, really fun. Fun little light gun. I don't know if you could call moving a cursor game a still light gun game, but it honestly, it was fun. It really was. It was challenging. It wasn't nearly as hard as the arcade because they don't need to do that. They already have your money. They don't need to fuck you anymore. So, um,
No
so it's
more
like,
wet butt here.
honestly, yeah. But like, yeah, I don't know if anyone out there has played this arcade game, you guys, or have played a home version of it, but honestly, on Game Boy it was way better than I thought it would be. I picked it because I thought it was going to be bad, and I was surprised. I'm wrong. Sorry, T2, the arcade game. I'll give you credit.
Did you end up beating it?
No, I didn't get that. I mean, I got like really far. I did like 6 or 7 stages. I didn't do the whole thing, but yeah, I probably, with some practice, I probably could.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat. There's a
What?
screenshot of Sarah Connor from the Terminator 2 Game Boy game, and she looks like Rosa Parks.
Oh shit! This is wild. What the hell is this? I don't think I saw this at all. This must be from like the ending or something.
She looks like shit.
Wow.
This is wild.
I swear to God, I thought I've got the two side by side now. I'm looking at like pictures of Rosa Parks and her, and like they kind of look
Oh my
alike, but
God.
like
The rabbit holes Aaron goes down whenever we're talking is incredible. I didn't think we'd expect to be here, but we are.
here you
Yeah,
go.
she got like weird puffy cheeks, you know? She
It
got
is
stung
weird.
by a bee.
Dude, that aside though, the backgrounds in this game, like the Game Boy version, are really fucking detailed and cool. Like you see the
Mhm.
fucking the wasteland, or not the wasteland, like the destroyed city in the background with like the searchlights and shit. You've got like the little
Yeah.
playground right there. There's
Yeah, you can still shoot the fence. You can still shoot all the objects to get like hidden power ups and shit, just like the arcade game. It really does work exactly the same, and it's fun.
that's
It really is
awesome.
fun.
Why did you send us a People's article link about Rosa Parks, dude?
Oh, because I clicked grab that picture of Rosa Parks and put it right beside that picture of Sarah Connor.
This is so weird.
I mean,
Oh
you
my
don't
god.
you don't
I'll just
have
Will
to do
people
that.
be getting these images for the Super Pod Saga home game
This
version
should
of
be
this
the
podcast?
this
as
should be
well?
the image.
The Game Boy version.
Yeah.
That's the thumbnail, dude. It's Sarah Connor and Rosa Parks side by side.
In the,
Best
in the,
handheld
in the
ports.
heavyweight title match, we have Sarah Connor versus Rosa Parks.
I mean, I'd watch.
Let's get it on.
I mean,
Talk
we
about
all-
a talk
I
about
think.
talk about a SummerSlam, brother.
What was
Dude,
that show on
is-
MTV where they would have the two people
Celebrity
claymation people
Deathmatch.
fight?
Celebrity
Dude.
Deathmatch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude,
Which was
Marilyn
not a good
Manson and
game
Adam Sandler.
either. If you
That was
Oh,
terrible.
oh yeah, that Celebrity Deathmatch game was awful.
Speaking of awful, no, not awful. Speaking of, I don't know. Go Thrak.
Speaking of,
All right. Well, my second one is it's kind of a cheat because the Game Boy version was the first one. It got its NES and Super NES sequels later, but I wanted to play it because it's on the NSO service. It's called Gargoyle's Quest.
Oh
Um,
yes.
Yeah, so Gargoyle's Quest, for those of you who don't know, is a spin-off of the Ghosts and Goblins series where you play as one of those little goblin guys. What's his name?
Red Reamer.
It's
Firebrand.
Firebrand,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
so you're going on this adventure to like save people. I didn't really pay attention to the story, but the gameplay is
I don't
super
really
cool.
play the game.
I'm just making it up as I go.
It's-
So you have like these side-scrolling action stages where you can float and shoot fire and all that, which is really cool. But in between the action stages, it does like the top-down Zelda thing, and is almost kind of like an adventure game almost. And you have, I guess I describe them as random encounters where
Yeah.
you'll be on the overworld map and you'll just run into some enemies, and it's like, oh, you got to fight them real quick. So it has like kind of Zelda like RPG elements where you don't get like experience points, but if you get certain items, it'll make you more powerful like throughout the story. So you can float in the air longer and shoot more powerful like fire or just other kind of weapons that help out. Like one, I think you can shoot it into the wall and you can jump up a little higher as well, which is really nice. And yeah, I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but it was really fucking cool. So much so that I put a little bit of time into its sequels, and they're definitely more advanced. But I don't know if I like them as much. Like they don't have the same kind of quirky nature of them. Like Goblin's Quest 2 on the NES, which is technically a prequel. I don't know. It felt like it was slower and just didn't have the same kind of like level design as the original Gargoyle's Quest.
I definitely like
yeah,
the
cool
original
game.
Gargoyle's Quest more than 2. 2 has one of my favorite soundtracks on NES. I think the music is incredible.
Oh, the
Oh
music
my
is
god, that's like
fantastic.
peak Capcom right there. But I do like the
For
first
sure.
one, and then Demon's Crest or Super Nintendo, I almost consider like entirely different. Like they don't feel like the first two at all. Like they kind of have some elements of it, but Demon's
Yeah.
Crest is like, and I love Demon's Crest. Don't get me wrong, I love that game, but I don't really. It's like it's very different and it's very Super Nintendo 1994, right? Which is great, but not
Yeah.
much of
Very.
a like follow up, right? I feel like I think you're correct. I think that Game Boy version is kind of unique unto itself.
Yeah, well, I think with Demon's Crest, because it's not called Gargoyle's Quest
Mhm.
3, it's like they wanted to kind of split it and make it its own
Yeah,
thing.
and it
which
very
would
much
explain
is.
why it is very
Mhm.
different. Yeah. And I believe that's on NSO
It
as
is.
well, but Gargoyle's Quest 2 is not for
It's
some reason.
weird.
So
Weirdly
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
the Gargoyle's Quest 2 has a Game Boy remake. It only came out in Japan though,
That
and
is true.
it adds more dungeons or whatever and like more powers you can unlock.
I could have played that technically.
You could have people. I I was actually just reading about it last night, like a comparison of like the NES version and the Game Boy version, and a lot of people say that the Game Boy version is a lot slower. So
And the
stick
NES
with
game's already kind of slow.
yep, stick with that NES one.
Yeah. Cool game. Play it.
Speaking of cool games, hello Mike, what you got?
Hey, Mike.
Hi. We're back again. A game that we can all relate to, NBA Jam. I assume you guys have played NBA Jam on like nearly every system, or at least on a handful of systems.
It was
Actually,
Order
I
Muncher for me.
actually played NBA Jam on one of my Genesis streams.
Nice. Well,
Yes.
the best NBA Jam like for me on the N64 was NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. A really long name game for just another NBA Jam. It was what Midway did after Acclaim bought the NBA Jam license and ran
Yeah.
and did their own
Yeah,
simulation thing.
Yeah, because
So
wasn't it went NBA Jam, then Hang Time, and then Showtime?
yep, yes,
Okay.
yeah. Tournament edition, then Hang Time, then Showtime. Tournament edition, Hang Time was still on Genesis and stuff too, but then Showtime was arcade. It looked like NFL Blitz. It was one of those
Yeah.
like 3D things.
Yeah, I had
And
Showtime on Dreamcast and I played the hell out of that. Yeah.
It's awesome. really really good. So we'll do this like a call and response. Name your favorite things about those games. Anybody? Like
I
just
love the
gameplay features
arcade.
and stuff.
Like I love it's arcade fast. There's not too many people on the court, and it's just it's the right way to do like an arcade sports game. It's fast, pick up and play. You're right in, and you're enjoying, having a good time.
Net on fire, baby. Big, huge chunks.
Big
2-on-2
head.
still exists, but it's not fast on the Game Boy Color.
Oh,
it is
no.
not
Is it like
fast at all.
is it more like a sim?
No, it's the game. It's the game you're thinking of, but it's not fast. It is very slow. And in fact, while you, so because of the directional pad as opposed to the analog stick, as you move left and right and up and down, you move at full speed. If you try to move in a diagonal manner at any point, it's like 33% speed, maybe.
Oh no.
Like so so
Ooh.
cutting off passing lanes and stuff, completely thing. I hear Dre said on fire. I did not experience that one time in the Game Boy Court. Not one.
No.
I know they. I know
you
that it
could say you were
exists. I
cold.
think, but I was never able to experience that.
If you can't set the net on fire, what the
Rip
hell was the
off.
point of NBA Jam? I don't even know why you're playing.
Right?
What is?
Well,
Correct.
big heads are
You
nice.
gotta have the fire, man. He's on
yeah.
fire. You gotta, man. Come on.
Boom,
I didn't
shakalaka.
see any big heads
shakalaka.
either. Aaron, what is your favorite parts of NBA Jam?
Hoops.
Hoops?
Hoops, baby.
Yeah, it has that. Well, thank God it has. It has.
It
hoops.
certainly does not have
but
the
the other
sound bites, though, right? That Aaron was just
does
saying.
not.
Yeah.
No. In fact, it has no commentary whatsoever and a single music track as well. So none of the boom shakalaka slam a jam, he's on fire, heating up. None of it.
dangling.
Is it the
Zero.
shoes? Yeah.
Yep, none of them.
I'm looking at gameplay of it, and it looks like an alpha for like an NBA Game Boy Color game. You know, they're like, we got it running, so we'll fix this later. And
Yeah, it
like,
looks a
no, it's
lot
on
like
shelves next week. Fuck.
Double dribble from the NES, but with less people on the court.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Oh man.
So the other things it doesn't do, if you played Showtime, you can like do a spin move, and different like none of that. We just skip all of that. None of that's in there. Throwing alley oops.
Wow.
Not one time did my computer teammate jump towards the hoop for me to throw an alley oop. And then you can do like the double dunk, where like you jump to dunk and then they jump and then you throw it to them and then they dunk to like avoid. None of that. That didn't happen.
Oh
you also
my
couldn't
God.
go from dunk to like layup, like where you fake a dunk and then you throw a layup instead to like throw the blocker off. None of that. There's also no multiplayer in the Game Boy Color, like no link cable multiplayer or anything.
What is even the
and
point of
Showtime?
life?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You might as well just be playing. Might as well just be playing like Flashback.
Yeah,
or like one of those like side-scrolling.
Jesus Christ!
Like, because you can't dunk.
Thanks for the plug, Aaron.
You can dunk.
You can't dunk. Oh. Well,
you can't dunk.
You
just can't dunk. You can't double dunk.
That's true. I mean, yeah, you can't do a double dunk.
Can you at least still like jump really high and then like dunk? Because okay, at least it still has that.
Yeah, and like the screen shakes just like an NBA Jam, so that was kind of cool.
Okay.
Like it did some things, but I like Showtime better than Hang Time because Showtime did the thing where it was almost like the RPG of Midway sports games because you could it had a really robust create a character and you could like level up your character. You could pick a special ability, like have a hot spot on the floor where you had increased accuracy from that one spot, like at 3-point or at the key, and they took all of that.
That's
out
fucking
that's
cool.
All. Yeah, but that's not on this. We're talking. That's not on this version. None of the good stuff is on this version.
Yeah.
You got Aaron all excited.
Yes. Sadly, no
you should
Game
play
Boy Color
Showtime.
RPGs for basketball.
Yeah.
I'm just like the footage. It looks so plain, like all the character of the NBA Jam is just stripped out of it.
And the models are all the same too. Like on screen, like they do really good, like tiles of players with their stats and stuff. But once you get on the court, like everything looks exactly the same, and it's kind of depressing. I really wanted to like it.
The background basketball court looks pretty nice. Like the logos they have in the center of the court look like pretty good.
Yeah.
But It's probably
Dude,
the
colors
nicest
were
thing I can
good.
say about it. Yeah,
Like the animation was pretty decent too, and like I said, the screen
it's not
shake and
bad.
like it was all fine. But like you played Jam to not play basketball,
Yeah,
I guess
you gotta
is,
have
and
that sass. You
to
gotta
do
have that
something else.
flash and sizzle, and with that, literally the sizzle with the fucking fire. And if you don't have that, then
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Then you're
You
just
I'm
you
playing
play.
simulation basketball.
Yeah, and who the fuck
Me,
wants to play
I've never
that?
wanted to play that.
I mean, I do, but
NBA
I
2K
didn't. That's not what I
Snore.
wanted to play this
Yeah.
time.
oh, I'm
Exactly.
I'm looking at a couple of screenshots for NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. Wow, what a fucking mouthful! Yeah, you
Yeah.
said
On
it.
the GBC.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at a screenshot of like the N64/PS1 version or whatever, and there's a couple of screenshots where they're like tossing around this gigantic basketball. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that looks cool.
All
How
the
the
cheats
fuck
on
does
that
that
game.
work?
Every cheat you've ever seen on any midway sports game was on that game. It was
NBA.
amazing. That's one of my favorite N64 games.
I had the
I
Dreamcast
miss
version, like I
cheats.
said,
Bring
since
back
I was
cool
a
cheats, dude.
hipster, as I said, and like that NBA Showtime on Dreamcast was the tits. I played the hell out of that game. Well, after NBA lost the NBC and it went to ESPN, and that wasn't even relevant anymore. Yeah, so yeah,
Please
Yeah.
add more acronyms.
But they couldn't stop
I
Midway.
need-
Midway had already put that in the game,
Yep.
and that was in there forever. Just like that John Tesh Saturday Night Live skit with the
it's there
song.
forever.
Well, fellas, before we get to our next round of picks, how
How
about we
about we
take
take
an
a
ad break?
piss? Whoa,
Cool.
what?
Yeah, go take a mean Duke.
Got to pay those bills, man.
Yeah, with the Duke.
Oh,
And by Duke, I mean Xbox controller, not a fecal matter.
Yeah.
We don't do that on Super Pod
Ah.
Saga. We're way too high class. We'll be right back. This episode was brought to you today by our wonderful, generous, dazzling patrons: A Novel Console, Jared Schrader, Jameson Empire, Adam Phineas, Trey, Adam Revival and Extinction Podcast, Jeff Miners, Jenny E, Kevin Demo, and Thrak. All of you are superstars, and I can't thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough. I mean that. With your support, I've been able to make every part of Super Pod Saga so much better. I really greatly appreciate your current and future support, and I just hope all of you are rewarded in some big cosmic karmic way. So yeah, thank you a lot. If you're a fan of coffee and you're looking for something different, I think we've got just the thing for you. That's Bones Coffee. Bones Coffee is not your usual coffee company. Of course, it's all sugar-free, gluten-free, all that stuff, because it's just coffee, nothing added to it. But they roast each batch of coffee beans to your order, and they've got just a bazillion different flavors to choose from. They've got your usual French vanilla, salted caramel, they've got Irish cream, of course they've got decaf, single origin coffees like Kenya, Guatemala, stuff like that, even what they call high voltage, which is extra strength, extra caffeine. But they have all sorts of other awesome kind of out of the box flavors. They've got ones like cotton candy, maple bacon, and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. And they're always coming up with new crossover flavors, like they've done a bunch for Nightmare Before Christmas, Indiana Jones, even Spider-Man, of all things. And they're also coming up with new seasonal flavors all the time. If this sounds right up your alley, feel free to use the link in our episode description and use coupon code SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. And if you're not just in the market for coffee, you can also get some sweet mugs. They've got lots of cool shirts. They've got all sorts of different brewing equipment like French presses, stuff like that. Just head on over to bonescoffee.com, or again, use the link in our episode description and get 20% off. Get yourself a new interesting flavor and spice up your morning routine with Bones Coffee. I really hope you enjoy. I'm a really big fan of it, and I hope you find one that really hooks you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. It's really important to stay hydrated. They say to drink 8 to 10 cups of water per day to stay properly hydrated, but sometimes that can be difficult to do and completely inconvenient, and most of us don't feel like carrying a gallon of water with us at all times. That's where Liquid IV comes in. Liquid IV is the category-winning hydration brand fueling your well-being, and their hydration multiplier is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. Use it first thing in the morning, before a workout, when you feel run down, after a long night out, or on long flights. Man, in Iowa, the summers can be brutal. 90 degrees and tons of humidity, and that just saps the energy and water right out of your system within just a few minutes. Luckily, Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's very important to replace those electrolytes, you know? And I just love how quick and easy it is to use Liquid IV. You just get 1 packet and a bottle of water, and you just pour that packet into the bottle of water, shake the heck out of it, and bam, you are good to go. Since using Liquid IV, I've felt way more alert, active, and just plain better versus drinking water alone. My favorite flavors to go to are the Yuzu Pineapple Energy Multiplier and the Tropical Punch Hydration Multiplier. I can't get enough of those ones. And what makes them even better is, like I mentioned earlier, they're packed with 5 essential vitamins like B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. And again, 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. And they're non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy, which is just great. So you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code SUPERPODSAGA at checkout. That's 20% off anything when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code SUPERPODSAGA, SUPERPODSAGA at liquidiv.com. You have a great one, superstars. Hey, so windows, right? They go on walls, they let in sunlight, you can look through them? You look through windows, right? Yeah, they're made of glass. What if I told you your windows can do more for you fellas? What if I told you you could have flavored windows? This is so fucking stupid. I already hate this. What if I were to tell you?
Do you want to be a...
windows-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. What if I were to tell you that you could even eat? Well, I mean, you can't eat windows. You could lick them and they could taste good, maybe, depending on what
That was my
flavor you
first
get.
question. Do I have to actually touch them with my mouth parts to experience this, or can I can the
Yes.
sun come through and I can just
No.
through osmosis like a plant?
Your photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis
You
is
get-
the
you
lemon
get-
flavor of your window.
Yeah, you get the essence of it. Yeah.
Essence of window.
I just kicked my fucking desk.
It's like drinking like a flavored LaCroix. Like you get the
Oh,
feeling of
fuck.
a lemon, but you don't actually taste
Yeah.
it.
Because the biggest problem would be walking to my window. I don't know if I would buy the windows specifically to experience them if I had to go all the way over there.
Yeah,
You
like
gotta lick them.
are-
That's how
are
you
they-
get the
but-
flavor.
but are they like everlasting gobstoppers? Can I just lick
Yes.
them forever, or is there like a finite time?
Well,
Ugh.
yeah, dude. I was trying to think of like a cool way to
Like, could you
to express
imagine
that, but yeah, they
imagine
last
a
forever.
flavored window, but just little weird thin parts in there, because it's this height to lick it, you know, and then a tiny little hole starts to appear.
No way, man. The whole pane, the whole glass pane, it's flavored, baby. You cannot eat it. You should not eat it. You should not blast it wrap like your flannel shirt around your fist, blast it open with a quick punch, and then take a bite.
Don't
you
eat
just lick 'em.
glass, but you can lick.
Yeah,
the
you can
glass.
lick
You can lick
glass,
it, yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
That's safe to do.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
So is the
Spritz-
aim of these flavored windows to turn me into like Natalie Imbruglia, where I just like ponder everything out the window while the rain is
What
on?
a
Like,
fucking
because you gotta,
reference.
Yes.
well, because I have to be like right on top of the window the whole
Yeah.
time, because otherwise, how am I gonna lick
Yeah.
it? Like,
You gotta be
Yeah,
there.
exactly. It's
you see how far that
Yes.
window is away from me? Like,
Yeah.
I can't even reach it from here. I mean,
Yeah,
I
dude.
could.
look at that
But I
one behind
can't,
me. I've
because
gotta
I'm
go.
sitting
I've
here.
gotta go.
What flavor is that window behind you?
I don't know, because I'd have to
All of
lean
them.
all the way over there to lick it.
Don't
That's why I want it to come
Don't
to
find
me.
out.
You don't
Don't find
remember? You don't remember?
Flavored windows come in
Oh.
many flavors, such as lemon lime, boysenberry,
Ooh.
Green?
green.
Coffee.
no,
Coffee.
purple. Like grape.
Bones Coffee, right?
Bones? Thanks for sponsoring our flavored windows, Bones. Yeah, they come in
Oh,
grape, but it's that like highly artificial
It's a
grape.
grape I like.
That's a grape.
that
sweet.
purple. The
Yeah.
purple.
The
yeah.
good grape. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Aaron,
Yes,
since we're on the show, we're the window,
Plug it.
the flavored windows are doing a crossover with Hamburger Helper.
Yep,
So you can get a
plug it,
Hamburger
baby.
Helper flavored window. So,
Sponsor us, Betty.
Yes, hashtag ad. Please sponsor us, Hamburger Helper.
So can you get like an extra window? So once again, I'm trying to solve my personal problems here. Like, all right, so all the windows in my house, they're all covered in
therapy
flavored windows.
session.
Can I get one extra one that just maybe sits by my chair, so I can just lick that one without going to the one that's installed?
I think that's okay.
Yeah, you
I think
could.
that's okay for sure.
Yeah.
We all
absolutely.
need a snack right by our computer, you know? Like
Yeah.
imagine you're just doing your stuff and then you're
It's
like,
like
oh,
a
I'm
salt
hungry.
lick,
You just
but like
grab a giant thing. Perfect.
Yeah, because I don't want my
Beautiful.
neighbors to like lick the outside of the window and then me have to think about licking the inside of the window and then like sharing a like
Could you-
Lady in the Tramp moment with them.
That's the
over
best
my
part where you
green
meet in the
window.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You somehow become like Eskimo cousins with your neighbors.
dude, yeah.
I was gonna
BB,
start
BB,
singing "Make
BLT.
My Way Downtown," but I don't think that's Natalie Imbruglia. I think that's Sarah
Yes, it
Bareilles,
is.
right?
It is.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
I don't
yeah.
know what any
Yeah.
of those fucking names mean that
No.
you just said, but flavored
I
windows.
thought you were gonna say none of these words are in the Bible.
But in the Bible it says
Yeah.
to quote Sir Mix-a-Lot, put them on the glass.
Yeah. And the best flavor is green.
To quote the Bible once more, I don't know, Johnson 3:15. Yea, and the Lord said, "Let there be blue raz flavored windows. I'll lick them shitters all night."
Amen.
Otherwise, I thought you were gonna say Johnson and Johnson 315.
Thanks, flavored
Oh.
windows, for sponsoring
So,
this
you
this
can-
doozy of an episode.
You can
Thank you.
you can finally be a true Aphex Twin window licker.
I hate that I got this.
Ah.
I was
I
trying to
love
think of
Aphex
the.
Twin.
I kept mistaking it for other like EDM bands from that time, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing, so I went right to Natalie Imbruglia instead.
No, that's Natalie Imbruglia is a safe zone.
Yeah.
If you lick the window too much, your face turns into Richard D. James.
Making my way downtown.
Like in that
licking
music
glass,
video where like
windows passing,
everybody
I'm
is
so
his
high.
fucking face. It's awesome.
I'm trying to make like a parody of that
I
song,
liked it.
but
It
like
was
with
good.
licking windows.
I love we're crossing Aphex Twin in 1,000 Miles.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hey, we're back.
As ordained,
Hey.
ordained by God. Whoa, hey, hi.
As Johnson and
no, go
Johnson
ahead.
intended.
Hey, video game show.
Video games, that's right. The next one that I have jotted down is one that I haven't played a whole lot of, but I know that it's fucking good. Hey, it's got quite the name. Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles on PSP.
Mm.
For those not ordained with the state, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Anyway, for those that don't know, it's basically it's basically Castlevania Rondo of Blood, finally localized for us good folks here in America, because originally it came out on the Turbo or the PC Engine CD or whatever, Yeah, they completely remade it. 2.5D. They added new stages, new moves. They added just a whole bunch of new shit. They even redid the cutscenes. Like, instead of having like the cool anime cutscenes, they did like CG cutscenes or whatever. They redid the music too. I forget, which sucks because like the PC Engine CD or whatever version, the soundtrack is fucking slapping.
It's incredible.
Fucking soundtrack slaps.
It's
Yes.
amazing.
A
And
song.
and yeah,
Um. Next week, I don't know when this episode's going to air, but as of this recording, next week on Fine Time, we're doing a music thing, and one of the songs my guest picked is a song from Rondo of Blood, and
hell yeah.
we oh my god, it's just one of the best songs of all time. Anyway, but yeah, the music in that game is great. We I think me and you and Mike talked about Rondo of Blood a little bit because on our episode we were talking about Dracula X for SNES and why people
Yep.
shit on that game. And we were
I
talking about
remember
Rondo of
that.
Blood. Yeah, we were talking about Rondo of Blood a little bit too. And I obviously I like the SNES game that's sort of based on it. But yeah, Rondo of Blood on PSP was the first time we ever got that in America. And trust me, I was on that shit. I borrowed my friend's
Yeah.
PSP. I didn't get a PSP till 2009. That collection came out like 2 years prior to that. I played the hell out of his version. I'm sure he was really he's fine with it. But yeah, I love that 2.5D version. Honestly, Aaron, I don't even think about that game anymore because it's so locked to PSP. It's not even on like PlayStation Plus Classics or whatever. Like that shit never gets re-released. And I wish it would. I think that's a really interesting and cool version of the game. It doesn't replace the original, but I think it's fascinating. I think it should be out there.
Is Rondo of Blood on that? Like, what's that one PlayStation exclusive thing? It's like Castlevania Requiem or whatever that has
Yeah.
like Symphony
Yes,
of the
it
Night.
is.
And
It is.
Yeah.
it is.
That's
Okay.
like the only, as far as I know, the only like official localized version of the original.
Yeah. Because
Did it come out on the Wii Virtual Console?
It did, but it was
I
not.
don't.
It was not. It was just the original Japanese version, and I have the TurboGrafx CD Mini, and of course, it's just a Japanese version. So
Yeah.
They didn't translate it.
no,
Fuck.
But there is a fan translation. So
Yes.
yeah, what from what I've played of it, it's pretty fucking good. But yeah, also in this Dracula X Chronicles, you can unlock a fully playable version of Symphony of the Night on there, and it's like just the whole PlayStation, Sega Saturn version. Even has some of the cool shit from the Saturn version, like being able to play as Marita. Holy shit, being
Edit.
able to play as Maria. There we go.
Give me a call.
Quick Google how to
Hold
say
on,
that name.
I gotta find it. That's how we say it. Did it go?
I didn't hear it.
Hold on. Holy shit, Riverside. I need this call more than I need a hole in the head. I guess it's not going.
That's
Call!
this
Add it
never
in there.
happened.
Anyway. This never
No.
happened. No.
Please let this
but
make
yeah.
the episode.
Oh, it will. It's
Let's say
staying
something
in.
really important so you can't cut it.
I hate when that happens and I can't cut something out. I say something really stupid
make
and
another-
my co-host makes a really great joke and it's like, well, fuck, now I have to keep this because that's too funny. I can't cut this out now.
Yep, another Cerebrellis thing.
But yeah, man. It's a great fucking game. I just kind of almost wish they would have just no, I guess the original version of Rondo of Blood is also unlockable in that game as well
Yes.
too. And it's like the whole original version with like the badass anime cutscenes and shit. And if that game was just a little bit cheaper, I'd kind of pull the trigger on it. But yeah.
I probably have it on my modded Vita. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, it's actually. Oh wait, no. Oh, that's. Oh, Mercari has one for 45. That's the cheapest one I found so far.
Well, that's not bad.
Yo-ho.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
not
gonna keep
terrible.
saying yo-ho Pirates Life. I would never give any of them fucking scum suckers a single dime of my money ever.
The prices overall aren't terrible.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be way more than. I thought it was gonna be like 140 or something.
They can
Just-
lick
yeah.
my wet butt.
What other handheld ports can lick your wet butt, Andre?
This game is not wet butt. So I wanted to I wanted to pick a game.
It's a dry front.
Yeah. I wanted to pick a game that was actually better than the console original. I wanted to do at least one game like that, and that game for Game Boy Color is Dragon Warrior. Or should I say Dragon Quest, now as we have it in the US now, but at the time when they did Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 for Game Boy Color, it was still called that. And this was the first time I ever played Dragon Quest, not the original, but any Dragon Quest. This popped my Dragon Quest cherry. This Dragon Warrior 1
Hell
and
yeah.
2 for Game Boy Color. Yeah, it's the first time I ever played any of the games. Because, growing up, I was not into RPGs. Like I said, I was an arcade head. I didn't want to play stuff like that. The first RPG I didn't play one until I was like 13. So it had to have been like Chrono Trigger or something like that, the mid 90s. I was not interested in RPGs till then. So I had a lot of catching up to do. And Dragon Warrior, if you will, on Game Boy Color is one of those games. And I love it. It's the best. Like, first of all, I love that they didn't try to like modernize it in the ways that would make it something not Dragon Quest. Like, yeah, okay, you don't have like the command list anymore, like talk or stairs or whatever. Like, you don't have that stuff anymore, or door. Like, okay, they got rid of the command list. That's a way you can modernize, right? Because we hadn't been doing that since like the 90s, right? So okay, that's something you get rid of. But they didn't try to like, I don't know, give you a big helper or something to help you from losing all your gold. Oh, no, you know what? They do have that. They do have the storage thing. They added the storage where you could put your gold and your items in there. That's not in the NES original. I have since gone back and played the NES original, and they don't have that. But the Game Boy Color version does have that. So that's a good, I know like people like to call it quality of life, but to me it's just a feature, an extra feature. But yeah, they left Dragon Quest as it is, and I feel like if you play this Game Boy Color version of Dragon Warrior, if you will not lose anything. I think for me, this supersedes the NES original. It completely replaces it, in my opinion. The dungeon design is radically different, in a way that's good, I think. You have these like, because like the original, you have these very short, almost like Tower of Jiraga or whatever, where you have these like very short one square like maze things that you have to walk through. On Game Boy Color, it's a little more open, and I like that about it. The difficulty is still there. I think that's the interesting thing, because I think when people take these really old RPGs, they have a need to make them like really easy because they thought they were overly hard before, which they may have been. But I think on Game Boy Color, yeah, it's like a smidge easier maybe, because you don't have to grind as much, but you still will have to. And it's still a tough experience, and you still will die, and you will have to fight things that are kind of above your pay grade, so to speak. And so I do like that about it. The music is also fantastic, definitely better than the NES version, and the embellishments and extra phrases, musical phrases, if you will, they add to the music in this game. This Game Boy Color version is excellent. So to me, these are like the versions of the songs. To me, they're the ultimate. Yeah, I don't really know what else I can say about Dragon Quest that hasn't already been said throughout history. But honestly, if you want to play the original game, Game Boy Color is the way to go. I don't think anyone should play the NES version over it.
Have you ever played the Super Famicom version?
I have not. And my Japanese is probably leveled up to this point where I probably could play that. I'm sure there is fan translations or whatever, but like,
yeah, of course, it's Dragon Quest.
Yeah, of course, but like,
I
have not played that version.
Okay, because that version is really, really good. I have the Switch version, which is just like the mobile version.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
the
mobile
iOS version. Yeah,
it's fine.
It's okay.
It's not like it's not the prettiest, but it plays the game.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
And I didn't think Dragon Quest 1 was that difficult. I don't know. It could be just me. I think it's just because you have your one guy and you're just focusing on him. And I felt like when you're grinding, it's not so much for the levels. It's just to get the money to get the better equipment.
Yes, your equipment grinding.
Yeah, especially compared to 2. 2 is unfair.
2 is just 2 is not. 2 is a mess that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I know somebody who just finished 2, and they were like, it was so bad they debated not continuing the series.
2 is not.
I
is
told
not
him,
good, yeah.
3 is better, much
3
better.
is way
so.
better. And that also has a really good Game Boy Color version as well. 3. But yeah, I wanted to shout out the original.
That's the poster right there for Dragon Warrior 3 on Game Boy Color.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah, and I don't know if you could see. I don't know if you could see it over here. That's Dragon Quest 8, like a PS2
Ooh,
magazine
really?
poster. I'm a bit of a fan, if you could tell.
Yep, just a tad.
Just a little bit. Does the Game Boy Color version add content for Dragon Quest 1?
No, it's the same story and whatever. Doesn't really add anything.
Okay. Well, because I know 3 adds I think it adds like an extra dungeon or 2.
No, there's definitely, it was the exact same. I played the NES and Game Boy Color back to back, so I really remember it.
I'm looking at a screenshot of the NES, Super Famicom, and Game Boy Color versions of Dragon Warrior 3 all together. And man, yeah, the Game Boy Color version looks really fucking good. So much better than the NES version.
I think it's.
And if I remember, they rewrote. They did a new translation for it, so it doesn't have that old.
Yeah,
English
it's not the old English. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just simple English, which I think is better. Yeah, because Dragon Quest have like the old stuff. Here, I think it helps a little bit
Thy
more.
maximum hit points hath rose by 3 or whatever. Shit like that, right? But I understand that for the time. I totally get why Nintendo, who brought it over here, did that. But like I get why they made the decision for Game Boy Color. I don't necessarily prefer one or the other, though. I did miss the when you use the item where the princess tells you shit and she says, "I love thee" afterwards. I miss the "I love thee." Other than that, I think
the old English speak adds to the charm of the original Dragon Quest games. But I think on Game Boy Color, having the more like simple English, like modern English, just makes the game more, I think, playable, especially for people who, like you, that was probably their first time experiencing those games in general.
For sure.
So it made it easier for people to
I was thinking about someone who's like me. I'm learning Japanese and trying to play games in a language that I'm learning. Someone who's learning English and playing the NES Dragon Warrior, if you will, that old English probably will fuck them up. Like nobody stands a chance. We barely stand a chance, right? How does someone who doesn't speak, like I was thinking about that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Anyway. But yeah, Dragon Warrior.
Speaking of ridiculous, what do you got, Thrak?
well, ridiculous because I've talked about Sonic a million times. So why not? Let's keep talking about Sonic, right? So Sonic Colors on the DS, or as I like to call it, Sonic Rush 3 Colors. It's basically the third Rush game, and this is the first time I had played through it. I wanted to play it anyway, so I played for this, and goddamn, like this is fantastic. Like it's up there with the Wii version in terms of quality, and if I compared it to the Rush trilogy, it might be my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because the trick system in the Rush games is fine, but in Colors they completely get rid of that. So like you build up the boost meter just by like attacking enemies and all that, which is just more normal. It still has the same storyline as the Wii version, still has the same locales, but it's all 2D. You still have all the Wisp powers, and I think they even add like some new Wisp powers for this one as well. And yeah, it's just a fantastic 2D Sonic game that's super fun, and just it kind of strips down what makes Wii Colors work so well, but just in a 2D format. And they do add some extra stuff, like there's like a bunch of random like side quests, which I feel like was an excuse just to have like every character in the Sonic universe make a cameo, because each area has like 3 missions where it'll just be like, oh, you'll run into Espio, and he'll be like, oh, I bet you can't like kill 200 enemies in like 2 seconds, and you're like, bet I'm gonna do that, and then you do it, and you don't really get anything for the missions, not really. And then there's just like the 2 normal stages, and then the boss. And oh yeah, that reminds me, you don't play as Blaze. There's no option to play Blaze the cat. It's just Sonic, which, to be fair, it's not a Rush game. So it's, Blaze is in the game. Like she'll make like mission cameos, but but to be fair, it's not Rush 3. So not having her there makes sense. But
yeah, me
really
too.
like
That's why I was like, hey.
So I really wish they'd use her more. And then the special stages here are, it's just the half pipe again.
Ugh.
Um, but what they do is there's like different colored balls you have to get, and like you have 3 rounds to get a certain amount of them. And so you're just controlling Sonic on the touchscreen with the stylus, and you're just moving him back and forth. It's super responsive, but in that super responsiveness, it is pathetically easy. I think it was the very last one for the Chaos Emeralds. I had to do the last round
Mhm.
a second time. That was it. All of the others I first tried it. So
That does
um,
sound really
and
easy,
Hell yeah.
considering the ditch of a
yeah,
time we had with Sonic Superstars, like, not too long ago.
exactly. But there is a like the normal levels are some can be easier than others. The was it Asteroid Coaster? That whole area is pretty difficult, and the missions can be fairly difficult because it's like, oh, if it says like, oh, you got to kill like this many enemies in this amount of time, and they give you like just barely enough time, so you are like racing against the clock. And then some of them need the wisp powers to like assist you. So some of those missions can be brutally difficult, and I did not finish them all. I tried, but I had other things to do. But yeah, Sonic Colors on DS, genuinely a fantastic game. Like a must play DS game if you're into the Sonic games, and especially if you liked Rush and Rush Adventure. Like this is just more of
And I
that,
did, and
but a little bit
I've
simpler.
always kind of known that Sonic Colors was Rush 3 essentially, and I just never got around to it, and I just forgot about it or wasn't the right time to play something like that. But I definitely should go back and yo-ho that game for sure.
Yeah, well, I think by like 2010, we were starting to like stop think
Did
about the
yo-ho
DS and
that
move
game.
on to like the
Yeah,
3DS.
so it's just kind of.
Because 3DS was like the
Hey,
year
and I had a
after, so
PSP by that time, and I was like anticipating Vita, and I was just not thinking about that shit at all. So yeah.
for sure, for sure. And it was one of the last like few. It was one of the last good games Dimps made in the Sonic universe.
Mike's turn.
Hey, Mike.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, Mike's turn. Um, so another really popular Nintendo 64 game that probably shouldn't have got a handheld port, but this one was good. Change of pace for me on these so far. Was BattleTanx. If you've
Hmm.
ever played the BattleTanx game on N64, it's like a behind the vehicle destructathon with a really crazy story, which Thank Dog is available in the Game Boy Color port as well. There's a virus that wipes out most of the world's population of just women, so there's only a few women
That's
left,
so weird.
and then they are kind of
Nice.
they are like celebrated, but also if you're not one of the queen mothers, like one of the head women that's running stuff, then you're just kind of like a slave woman, obviously kept for uh, breeding
Wow,
purposes and
that's
stuff like
kind
that.
of
Sounds like an incel bomb.
that's
What the
kind of
hell?
wild, man, for like a tank game.
Yeah, if you've never played BattleTanks, the story is worth it. Like the whole thing is crazy. It's really good, and I like to celebrate the apocalypse BattleTanks anniversary every year too. So we'll look forward to
All
that coming
right.
up too. But yeah, the Game Boy Color version keeps all of the story. So awesome. And the music is really good in this game too. It's like kind of like the MS like DOS like Wolfenstein style music. It's like foreboding and everything's on the bottom
Mhm.
range. And like it sounded really good, like almost like the Game Boy Color had bass, which I was really excited about for the time that I got to play the
Cool.
game. Which this was probably the one I played the most out of the pile that we played for the show today, and it was great. Um, I'm not usually enamored by the Game Boy Colored graphics, but this one looked really good. The only problem I had was, and it's kind of the same thing Thrak was experiencing with his Pac-Man World, was that perspective was really weird because you're kind of it's so this game looks more like if you pull it up, it looks like I don't know, Grand Theft Auto, like the 1 and 2 Grand Theft Autos, the PlayStation 1 ones. So it's completely overhead, um, and then you're kind of just driving up, down, left, right. But any like building that was straight up in the air because they were trying to create that like 3D look, you could drive around it, I guess is the
Mhm.
best way to put it. But because of the screwed up perspective, anything that was in the foreground, you couldn't drive behind it.
Oh,
Like even though you should be able to like you can tell that my tank fits through this alleyway, if the building is straight up and down, you can't go behind the sprite
yeah.
of the building. So I think I ended up wasting like an extra hour like I thought I was playing it wrong, to be completely honest. like maybe this is like a maze and I'm not getting it. But what I didn't understand was the perspective that they were presenting me was correct, but the I don't know, the system was not ready to let you go behind things and process, the tank sprites behind buildings or make the building transparent so you could see behind it. So that was really, really weird and hard to get used to.
Maybe they didn't want you to do that because, like, if someone was shooting at you, then you couldn't see your tank anymore or something like that, or maybe it was like a I don't know. That sounds so weird that they made it that way.
It
Yeah.
would be too much processing power to have a little shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, why can't it be a black dot behind this building so I can just tell
Mhm.
where I am? Instead, you have to drive. So there was parts where I would be like the top. If you've played BattleTanx, it's just a big grid. And most of the missions are like destroy all the enemy tanks or collect all of this, resource or whatever. So I'd get to the top, like right quadrant of the map, thinking I was going the right direction, only to realize that like I missed something to the left, and then you have to drive like instead of just being able to just drive across the map like on the N64 and run a bunch of cars over, you had to like weave your way through a whole city to get back to where you were, like grid style, and
Fuck.
it was really messed up.
That sounds terrible.
But it wasn't that bad. It was pretty good actually.
Really?
This game looks cool.
Yeah.
Like for some reason looking at it, it reminds me of Retro City Rampage. I don't know, maybe it's
I
just
can
like
see that.
like it's overhead, but it's like slightly slanted, so it's almost like a bird's eye kind of view.
And that's what I mean. If they would have just done straight overhead like Grand Theft Auto, then I wouldn't have been stuck with all those fucking buildings. But they did it just enough.
Yeah,
They gave you that like 15 degrees of off the top, and messed me up.
yeah. Well, I like you can run over the cars. That's a really nice feature.
Yeah, everything is
Little
destruct.
quirk
Like
it
there's a
has.
lot of destructible landscapes and stuff too. Like towers, like which would have been cables or like electric lines and stuff. Everything you can blow up or shoot, and it's not an incredibly hard game, so it wasn't frustrating in any way, and it really wasn't that long either. But I think I spent more time uh, getting my bearings and then traversing things than I did like actually chasing tanks down with missiles and stuff. It was probably
Yeah.
only 2 or 3 hours total of gameplay, but most of that was me being bad at a game, which is a recurring theme in my life. So,
It happens.
yeah.
Well, you know what I've learned about BattleTanx? It was developed and published by the 3DO company.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hell
yes.
yeah.
There's the most I know about 3DO. We were just talking about this before the show. I don't know
Well,
jack about
yeah.
3DO.
Well, because after the hardware part folded, they kind of stayed alive as like a little like game maker. So they made like the Army Man games and a bunch of
Yeah.
that.
I just remember Army Men. Yeah. Lots of Army Men.
And when we eventually run out of like console games for the 3DO, we will talk about those.
Yeah.
We will. We'll get to them.
Yeah, because
So-
I've never played an Army Man.
I have.
Oh, those
So-
are good. I like, and especially on the N64.
They're not
Yeah,
bad.
those are fun.
They're not
Yeah.
bad. I like
they
the
good?
I like
Okay.
the one.
Yeah.
I like the one on GameCube. It was like what Sarge's Assault or whatever. That one's not bad.
Oh, really?
I played one on
Yeah.
Windows 95 as well. That was like a
Mhm.
almost real time strategy kind of thing.
Ooh, Army Men RTS.
Yep.
That game's on Steam. It's worth playing.
I don't want to revisit that part of my past. I'm just gonna have a happy memory with that game.
That's fair. That's fair.
I liked it. Right?
But Mike, when we get to BattleTanx, you should come on for BattleTanx.
I can do that. See that?
Yeah.
That's a language I can speak. 2 BattleTanx
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
I mean, this game looks fun. I'm probably gonna check it out.
Yeah, it was fun. And like I said, if you're not, you don't have to be really committed because a normal video game player can get through it in a couple hours. So.
Right on, man. So my last pick was actually my last pick, but quick shout out to both the Metal Slug games on Neo Geo Pocket Color, whatever, because those are really, really cool. That's just the second one especially because it has some cool like unlockable characters and shit. Shout out to it's on my shelf, the the 3D remake of Final Fantasy IV on DS. That's really fucking good. the two, well, I guess all the Dragon Quest remakes for like DS and like even the 3DS, they somehow fit
Yep.
fucking Dragon Quest 8 on the 3DS, and it's fucking
That's
awesome.
still insane.
They made a playable version of 7, so that was good.
Yeah.
More playable.
More playable, yeah.
I'll put it that way.
They somehow trimmed like 30 hours out of the game, and it's still really long.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh, Power Stone on PSP, the Power Stone collection.
Oh, yeah,
that's
I had
really,
that.
really fucking
I
rad.
forgot they did
I
that.
had that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't we get Power Stone back? Capcom, what are you doing?
I just tweeted that this morning. Yeah, where the fuck are these fuckers,
Where's
dude?
Power Stone?
Any of you guys got some quick honorable mentions? You want to rapid fire out?
I don't know if I really have a. No, I don't think I don't think I do.
Well, I will say Super Mario Advanced 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, a terrible title, but I'm a huge Mario 3 guy. Like, I've played and beaten every version of that game at least like 2 times, and I gotta say the GBA version is the best one. But if you want to play it on the GBA NSO because you get all the e-reader levels, which was there's like I think they made like 96 of
Fucking
them.
e-reader, dude.
And I have an e-reader. I have a set of the cards. I've done the whole like scanning to put the levels in there. Pain in the ass, but I've done it. But you can't even hold all the levels on the original cartridge anyways. So just play that version. Yeah, but it's probably my favorite version of Mario 3. It retains the Super Nintendo graphics, but I think the physics on the GBA are better than the Super Nintendo's, in my opinion. And there's just a lot of like real nice quality of life things that they did just to kind of clean it up and make it more consistent overall. So like whenever I'm in the mood to play Mario 3, that is the version that I will play. So that'll be my shout out one.
Hell yeah.
The two that I didn't include didn't get North American releases. We talked about Daikatana. Obviously, that was Japan and PAL only on handheld. And then Space Station Silicon Valley was the same way. They got a side-scrolling platformer for that game on Game Boy Color as well.
That's news to me.
PAL,
I did
that's
not
PAL
know that.
only as well.
Wow.
So.
Whoa,
Nice.
dude.
That
So
sounds
these are all
cool.
games that like I wanted to, but they deserved more time than what I had to get to them. I mean, I was gonna do Quest Brian's Journey, but somebody else wanted to do that really bad, so I didn't. And I could have just bagged that one and then played another game. So, you know.
Next thing you're gonna tell me, Rocket Robot on Wheels has a Game Boy Color port.
I don't think it does. The lead up to this was I went through this excruciating process because people don't do things on the internet that I want them to do, but was trying to find every N64 port for Game Boy Color, and there's not a list anywhere, and AI didn't want to help me, and like so I had to sit and pick through a list, you know, because I know the N64 games pretty well, so I just picked through an entire like library of Game Boy Color games looking for compatible ports or games that released in the same year so I could compare them, and now I'm stuck in this like K-hole of trying to figure out what
K-hole, dude.
well, trying to figure out what games are actually like, because there's like an Earthworm Jim game that came out at nearly the same time as the 3D one on the N64, but are they related at all? I don't know unless I play them. And it's the same with all this. Like Duke Nukem, there's a Duke Nukem Game Boy Color game. It looks pretty sweet. I have no idea if it has anything to do with, you know, 0 Hour or the regular Duke Nukem 3D, or if it's just its own thing. Like Turok 2 made me learn real quick that it doesn't matter even if it came out at the same time, that it doesn't have anything to do with the N64 version. But yeah, the hole that I'm stuck in now with this is like I'm going to be wound up all summer trying to figure out what games have anything to do with the N64 versions, because the only way you can figure it out is to play them. And
I can't wait for the full list.
It'll never exist because I'll never, just like everything else, I'll just never stop arguing with myself about it. And that's how you end up in the K-hole.
I love that. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite Chemical Brothers songs, "Lost in the K-hole."
Yeah. The musical references on this episode are just outstanding. We're doing a really good job.
And we're going
guys,
like 90s, like big beat.
We know
techno
music.
And shit.
We know music. Yeah, we know music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're more than video games.
Yeah.
Next thing I'm gonna pull out like avant-garde jazz references.
More than just
we need Rick
How the
from
fuck does that
PPR
song
for
go?
avant-garde jazz references.
Yes, we do.
More than I don't want another pretty face. I just want you and your beautiful K-hole. Hey, that's Super Pod Saga for tonight, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Bye.
Thanks to
Can't top
thanks
that.
thanks to Thrak and Andre and Mike. Thank you, all of you dudes, for coming and hanging out and talking sweet handheld ports and sweet 90s garbage.
Well, don't we have? We all have one more, right?
That was it for me, man, and it's getting late.
Yeah,
I
we're
just
done.
want-
Screw this. We went from the wet booties to the K-hole, so we're all the way home now, right?
Man, I didn't get to talk about Quest.
Talk about it. Slap it
All right.
in.
I played Quest Bride's Journey, and it was fine. I thought it was okay.
There we go. You heard it here first, everybody. Yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out today and listening to us. Listeners, leave a rating, review, support the show on Patreon, all that stuff. Everybody, say bye.
Bye, bitch.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.